encourage all that you know to definitely exercise your right to vote. We do have Franklin County News online here, live streaming tonight, so this is available to be seen on Franklin County News online. You can Google Franklin County News online or go to Facebook and search for Franklin County News online. You can see the live stream there. Also, after the event tonight, you can also pull up the recording there. I would like to recognize Dr. Rhonda Schuler, Superintendent for Franklin County Schools. So thank you, and Lewisburg High School for allowing us to use this facility. Finally, I would like to thank each and every candidate who was able to attend tonight. So I've harassed them for the last 2 to 3 months, trying to get a commitment for them for this evening. Initially, we had, out of 32 candidates on our ballot, we had 18 to confirm. So as of now, I think as of today, we have about 14 or 15 who would join us on tonight. So we definitely thank you for taking the time out to join us on this evening, coming from near and far. So thank you again. All right. So our format for this evening, we will have, we had formerly, initially, a mingling portion of our event where you, the public, can interact with the candidates in your own way, ask any questions that you may have. Now we'll convene to have formal introductions from each candidate. For this portion, we'll set aside 2 to 3 minutes for each candidate to formally introduce themselves. Candidates, I do encourage you to stick to 3 minutes. That's a hard stop. And also, I encourage you to keep your comments directed or about yourself rather than getting into back and forth about the opponent. Okay, so thank you in advance for your cooperation. Let's see, is there a representative for Senator Lisa Barnes? Okay, just wanted to make sure I don't overlook you. Okay? With that being said, our first race on the ballot is U.S. Senate. We did have 2 candidates to confirm out of 4, which they are not able to be here on this evening, but that is the race that features Matthew Hull, Sherry Beasley, Shannon Bray, and Theodore Budd. Okay? Sandra Smith is supposed to be here. Okay, we'll skip down. Let's get to who we do have. So I'm looking at my Board of Elections sheet here. North Carolina Court of Appeals, Judge Seat 8, which features Julie Tate Flood and Carolyn Jennings Thompson. We do have a representative here to speak on behalf of Ms. Thompson. So, Mr. Worthy, if you come forward at this time. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Xavier Wortham. I'm here on behalf of Carolyn Thompson, who's running for the North Carolina Court of Appeals, Seat 8. Judge Thompson, unfortunately, had to be in Johnson County this evening, but did not want for the Franklin County event to take place, and she not have a representative here. And so I'm here to introduce those of you who may not know Judge Thompson. She has 26 years of legal experience, former district court judge and former superior court judge. She's committed to the state of North Carolina, the law, and she's really excited about the opportunity to serve the folks of Franklin County in this role as being a part of the Court of Appeals. So we want to ask you to please consider Carolyn Thompson for the North Carolina Court of Appeals, Seat 8, and please consider voting for all of the judges up and down the ballot. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wortham. That's my boss's boss, Mr. Xavier Wortham. So thank you for attending on behalf of this evening. All right, we want to make a reminder. I'm struggling with the microphone, but because of the air conditioning, the size of the facility, we want to remind our candidates to make sure you're speaking to the mic directly. North Carolina Court of Appeals, Judge Seat 10, features Judge John Tyson and Judge Gail Murray Adams. So at this time, Judge Adams.
Good evening, Franklin County. So good to be here. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I am Gail Adams, and I am running for the North Carolina Court of Appeals. Raised in the tobacco fields of Warren County, right next door, by a single mother of 4, I learned at a very early age the importance of hard work. I graduated from UNC Chapel Hill and from North Carolina Central University School of Law before joining the United States Navy as a Judge Advocate General. After I proudly served my country, I worked as an Assistant District Attorney and as an Assistant Federal Public Defender. In 2012, I was elected to serve as a Superior Court Judge in Cumberland County. I am now in my second 8-year term. I've been married 37 years. I have 4 children, or we have 4 children. And as if that wasn't enough, my husband and I have served many years as licensed foster parents. I am active in the community and in my church, where I teach Sunday school and I work with the youth. I want to stress, judges are important. From before you are born until after you die, our decisions affect your lives. Anything that you can think about, we have our hand in it. And so for that reason, it is so important that you elect judges who understand the impact that our decisions have on everyday lives. Judges who understand that we are representing and presiding over matters that involve people, not paper, not politics. It is also important to understand that as judges, we have an obligation to follow the law and not some political ideology or some personal agenda. We also have an obligation to be fair and impartial. We should not be deciding cases based upon who you are, where you come from, what you look like, or even who you know. We should also treat people with dignity and respect. What that means is that we should not be condescending, we should not be belittling, we should not be harsh, and we should not be rude. People are already having a tough time when they enter the doors of that courtroom. Judges should not make it worse. We are there to resolve issues. I ask that you please remember the other 6 judges who are running. You've already heard a representative from Carolyn Thompson. I also ask that you please remember Lucy Inman, who's running for the Supreme Court, and Sam Irvin, who goes by Jimmy, who's also running for the Supreme Court. And then you also have Brad Salmon, who's running for the Court of Appeals, Darren Jackson, of course me, and then Carolyn. Please tell everyone to get out and vote for your judges. Do not leave the ballot blank because you do not know us. Get out and vote for your judges. What do you want your state to look like for the next 10, 20, 30, 70 years? Because that's on the ballot in the fall. So we have got to get out and vote. Tell your family members, tell your friends, go through your contacts, send out the information to tell them that they need to come out and vote. I thank you all so much for this opportunity, and I'm so happy to be not home, but near home. Thank you all so much.
All right. Do we have representatives for Judge Darren Jackson, Judge Michael State? Okay, the one overlooking the room. All right, next, let's see, we're getting to our local races. So now these are the home folks. So we know how we get when we're home and, get relaxed. And, anyway, what I'll do is when you get to 2 minutes, I'll respectfully say 2 minutes, just to give you time to prepare to wrap up in your own way. North Carolina State Senate, District 11 features Mr. Mark Speed and current Senator Lisa Stone Barnes. Mr. Speed, ready.
All right, thank you very much. I am Mark Speed. I'm a graduate of Louisburg High School and Louisburg College, which reminds me the last time I was in this building was 30-some years ago, and it was not this comfortable. It was in June of 1985. No air conditioning here. It was not a good night. Anyway, I appreciate everyone coming out tonight. We do have a lot on the ballot this year. My number one priority is public education. It is under attack right now. I am a strong defender of that. Dr. Schuler is a witness to that. We had a hard time from the Board of Commissioners this year. There was not enough money allotted by our chairman of the board and county manager. We had to fight tooth and nail to make it better. We certainly didn't get it where it needed to be. Broadband is also on the ballot. We have a very difficult time out in rural North Carolina. We are not receiving the services that people are paying for, if they can even get it at all. I will certainly fight for that. Our children out in the rural areas deserve this. It's a necessity for them, as well as businesses that operate from home. So we will work very hard to get this across the state here in North Carolina. Number one thing on our ballot, and I've told everybody this, talk about it in Rocky Mount this afternoon, democracy is on the ballot this year. And I will defend that for the people here in North Carolina. This race is not about me. This race is not about the other candidates up here. It's about the people in North Carolina. Y'all remember that when you go to the ballot. I appreciate your time. Again, I'm Mark Speed. Hope to see you soon.
Thank you, Mr. Speed. Not seeing a House Representative or District Attorney here. We'll go ahead to Franklin County Board of Commissioner races. The first race is an at-large seat, which means anyone in the county, regardless of your district, can vote for these candidates. This race features Mr. Harry Foy, and Mr. Douglas Berger. Mr. Berger, if you're ready, it's time.
Good evening. I want to thank the Franklin County Chamber of Commerce for giving this opportunity for the candidates running for office. Good evening. I want to thank the Franklin County Chamber of Commerce for this opportunity to speak to you tonight about my campaign and the campaigns of the other candidates. My name is Doug Berger, and I am running for the at-large county commissioner seat. I have lived in Franklin County for 31 years. My wife and I graduated from Smithfield-Selma Senior High School in adjacent county, Johnston County, which is a tobacco county just like Franklin County, and we came to Franklin County because we wanted our children to experience what we experienced as children, the small town, rural values of hard work, neighborhood, church, family, and support for your local businesses. So we chose Youngsville. At the time we moved to Youngsville, there were about 400 people inside the town. We lived right behind the rescue squad, and our children went to Franklin County Public Schools. We specifically chose Youngsville because of the proximity between the house we bought and the school they could attend, Youngsville Elementary School. My son graduated from Franklinton High School. He's a proud Red Ram, so proud he tattooed the Ram on his body. My daughter went all the way through Franklin County Public Schools up until high school when she joined my wife, where my wife was teaching as a hearing impaired teacher in Wake County. And for 30 years, my wife's career was as a hearing impaired teacher and an administrator. I share this with you. I have one more thing to mention about my family. My son, Justice, is an elementary school teacher in Winston-Salem, and he teaches the first grade. So I want to drive home the point that the Berger family is committed to public education. It's what my wife did, myself. I taught for 3 years. So I see as the #1 issue for all parts of the county is public education and retaining quality teachers. We are competing with Wake County, and we need to increase their stipend. Now, I have campaigned a lot about the traffic issue. And the reason I have campaigned on that is because that is altering the quality of life in Youngsville, and it's coming to the rest of the county. Growth is good, but we have to have smart growth, and we have to have the infrastructure to support that growth. Franklin County needs to be more like Mayberry and less like Manhattan.
Thank you so much, Mr. Berger. You also walked off with my paper. I mean, maybe. All right, thank you. All right. Next, Franklin County Board of Commissioners race. This is for District 2. Franklinton District features Mr. Cedric Jones and Ms. Roxanne Bragg. Going to ABC order, Ms. Bragg, if you're ready.
Used to talking in a mic, so I can talk loudly into it in here, because I announce a lot of horse shows and a lot of other things. So, I am Roxanne Bragg, and I'm Republican, and I'm running for the Franklin County Commissioner in District 2. I'm a native of Franklin County, and I was raised in the Franklinton area, and I graduated from the Franklinton High School in 1975. Went all through 12 years there. After college, I was employed for a little over 3.5 years at Hillhaven Sunnybrook in Raleigh, and then I was employed at Murdoch Center in Button. In 1982, I was employed by the town of Franklinton as the director of the Franklinton Aging Project. It was housed in the Senior Citizen Center located on Mason Street in Franklinton. And due to the federal and the state grant funding received by the towns, the Franklinton Aging Project had to serve all the older adults of Franklin County and not just the citizens of Franklinton. So, under my leadership, the Franklinton Aging Project was moved under the Franklin County government and became the Franklin County Department of Aging, and I spearheaded all of that. As the population aged, I secured the funding and located the site and drew the floor plans and oversaw all the construction of the second senior center in Franklin County, which was located in Lewisburg. So we then had 2 senior citizen centers. 18+ services were provided by the department under my leadership, and that included the adult daycare, which is still running today, and is a great program. Many of the adult daycares that were open at the time I opened that one are closed and did not make it. Under my leadership and the way, the model that I set up for that program, it's still thriving today and has been for all these years. During my tenure, I was elected by my North Carolina colleagues. I was president of the North Carolina Association on Aging, and I think I did that for 2 terms. And then I was president of the North Carolina Coalition on Aging, and I think I did that for 2 terms during my time with the aging program. I was there for 27 years as director of the Franklin County Department of Aging, starting in 1982. We became a role model under my leadership of aging in North Carolina, and we were always and often used as a training resource across the state for other people or other counties that were running aging programs too. They came to us and wanted to know how we did it, and it was so successful. While working in Franklin County, I attended many of the commissioners' meetings, and I often presented to the commissioners. I'm very aware and familiar with their responsibilities in Franklin County. Now that I'm retired, I have the time to focus on working for all the citizens in Franklin County. As District 2 Commissioner, being a native and being here 27 years, I know a lot about Franklin County and its residents. As a Franklin County Commissioner, I will support a reasonable budget. I'll research and become familiar with all concerns and issues that come before the board. I'll support structured growth and infrastructure, and I will listen and communicate to our voters. I look forward to bringing my background and expertise to the Franklin County Board of Commissioners if I am elected. Please go to the polls. Tell everybody, go to the polls on November 8th. Don't say anything if you're not going to the polls. Don't make promises. Go to the poll on November 8th and vote for Roxanne Bragg as your Franklin County Commissioner, District 2. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Bragg's opponent, Franklin County Board of Commissioners, District 2, is Mr. Cedric Jones.
Good evening. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Wonderful day to be alive in Franklin County. Well, you know, I'm Cedric Jones, your current county commissioner for the last 10 years in District 2. We have made great strides in those 10 years. When you back up, I was also the county assistant director of the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service, Franklin County. We work with citizens, farmers, 4-H people, family consumer science, and community development to make this place what it is. Leaving there, continuing as a public servant, working on the Board of Commissioners with other commissioners, all 7 of us, to do certain things. 5 years ago, education is what I've always been involved in. My mother taught school for 42 years, so education has been in my blood. We were the first board in my leadership to give Franklin County 100% funding for their budget. Our operating budget has continued the last 5 years 100%. Some discrepancies about charter schools, but the overall budget has been 100%. Also, where pocketbooks are concerned, that's important today. For the last 5 years, we have not raised our property taxes in District 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 1. Not only that, we've lowered them by 1 cent each year in the last 2 years. So we're concerned about your budgets along with what you can afford. Also, what's been dear to me is health. I signed the actual document to reopen the emergency room next door at Franklin Medical Center. It's been operating there since. During COVID, it had a few hardships, and we decided to help them with some financial incentives that's only paid if they meet certain criteria. It's not a blank check. So, education, lowering your pocketbook property taxes, health, very important. The last thing that I want to talk about is that making sure that our kids have things to do. We have plenty of baseball, softball, football, basketball, and soccer, but we're more interested in the whole person, the adult and child. So we're advocating for more recreation through a YMCA here that will help this community, this county, and especially District 2, the Franklin community. That's growing leaps and bounds to have someone to be involved in. Lastly, as I stand before you, I ask for your vote again to re-elect me for another 4 years to continue the progress here, continue to work to make this county continually the best place to live, work, and play. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bragg and Mr. Jones. Franklin County Clerk of Superior Court. Again, in ABC order, this race features Ms. Patricia Burnett Chastain and Ms. Shelley Dickerson. At this time, Ms. Chastain, if you're ready.
Good evening. Thank you so much to the Chamber and to Vance Graham Community College and Marquis Dedham. I am Patricia Burnett Chastain. I was born and raised and educated right here, like Mark Speed said. And other than working and receiving some of my education in Greenville and in Richmond, Virginia, I came back home. I'm widowed. I have one daughter in the medical profession that lives in Greenville, and she just had my second grandbaby heartbeat last week, so life for me has got all kinds of new meanings. But I just wanted to share with you, in the event you didn't know, that after I became your clerk of court in May of 2013, I hired the first ever Hispanic Spanish-speaking staff for our citizens and for our office. I also promoted the first African-American assistant clerk of court in that office. And I believe they both still work here today. I organized and separated all the files that were not labeled and were not secure. I do want to say that when I came to work there, I worked with Shelley, and she stayed there, worked with me until she went out on maternity leave to raise her precious little girl, and I tried several times to get her to come back to work with me. But this is not about a difference in work. It's just what has to be done by anyone who is there. I want you to know that I installed the very first smoke detectors that were ever installed and put into our courthouse. I also found that the smoke detectors that had been put in the annex we had been paying for 20 years, and they were never hooked up. Clerk of court not only maintains records, but I feel they have the responsibility of the safety of the people for which they come to. I have been there and encouraged every event from National Day of Prayer to actually paying for doing your first Christmas tree lighting and Santa and cookies and hot chocolate. I think in hosting from middle school all the way to Vance Graham Community College, different students to come in and learn the departments of what the courthouse does and how they do it will help those people to understand the services we offer and hopefully raise people who want to be in genuine public service for all the people, not a party, not a person, but for all the people. I feel like I have loved everyone, I have treated everyone, I've gone home without coats and shoes. But I feel like this vote is about righting a horrible injustice and wrong by a select few. Thank you.
Ms. Chastain's opponent in the clerk's race was Shelley Dickerson.
Good evening. My name is Shelley Dickerson. I'm your clerk of court. And I just want to tell you a little bit about myself. I was born and raised here in Franklin County. I am married to my high school sweetheart. We both went to Lewisburg High School. We've been married for 27 years, and we have 3 children. Spencer, who's 21, Logan, who's 19, and Emily, who is 8, will be 9 here shortly in December. Is that better? Who here knows what the clerk of court does? I find that most people do not, or if they do, they just know a little bit about it. really, to explain it, we really carry two hats. One is the judicial. I'm actually a judge. I'm judge over estates and special proceedings. So I think everybody knows what estates is when somebody passes away. Special proceedings, I settle land disputes, I do adoptions, foreclosures, all kinds of special proceedings. My other hat has to do with money and paper. I'm responsible for every single paper that goes through that courthouse. It's my job to make sure everything is filed correctly and done correctly. I'm also in charge of the billions of dollars that flow through that courthouse. And I'm very much into numbers, so I make sure that every penny is where it's supposed to be. When I was appointed clerk of court in December of 2020, and when I first got there, I knew an audit was coming. We had to have a re-audit in estates. So when I first was appointed, I spent a solid 7 months going through estates and got all of that straight. And I'm proud to say when the auditors came back, I got a perfect 100, and we've got a good system in place now. Some other things I've done since I have been there, I'm an extreme organizer. I like things organized, I like everything to have a home. And that's really helpful in the courthouse, because when you're efficient and you can find everything, you can get a lot more done. The job is very demanding, and it requires you to be efficient. So some things I have done, due to the backlog for COVID, I have gotten with our administrative office of the courts and got an extra position in our budget. Also got 2 temporary positions, and I got approved overtime for all of my people so we can address that backlog. Also got new shelving systems brought down so we can be more organized and have our files organized. So that's just a little bit about myself, and I appreciate you listening to me, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Chastain and Ms. Dickerson. So we're down to our final candidates for this evening. And of course, this is the Franklin County Sheriff's race. So in ABC order, we have Major Troy Willis running against Captain Kevin White. So at this time, Major Willis, if you are ready.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Troy Willis, candidate for Franklin County Sheriff. Currently, I serve as the Major Patrol Operations, where I manage the day-to-day operation of the Sheriff's Office. I'm commander of the largest division at the office, and I supervise over 60 of approximately the 92 sworn positions. Americans are more polarized than we have been in quite some time. The issues we face are neither Democrat nor Republican. They're neither left nor right. Instead, they're American issues. They're the ones that we will face for generations to come if we do not unite and find a way to solve these problems. People should come before politics. The office of the sheriff belongs to the citizens and not the person that occupies that seat. With early voting underway, election day on November 8th, I'd like to share a few of my visions for this move to Franklin County Sheriff's Office forward. First, I pledge to you that I will uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States. I will strongly support your Second Amendment rights, as well as all your other rights. My administration will not be influenced by political parties or favors, and will provide professional public safety to all the citizens without bias or favor. Second, your safety and your family's safety is of the utmost importance to me. Schools must be a safe place for our children to attend. A viable threat assessment plan will ensure that every threat made towards our schools is addressed and investigated. We must continue to ensure that we do not want, or that we keep those that we do not want inside our schools out. A teacher should be there to teach, and law enforcement should be there to protect. As a population in our county continues to grow, I will advocate for resources needed to meet the increased demand of services across patrol, domestic violence, our internet crimes against children task forces. Each of these divisions will provide vital services to our growing county. We can best serve our citizens by investing in our people. I will provide our employees with continuing education and advanced training opportunities in an effort to help them best serve our citizens. We must work to provide an alternative to people who experience mental health crises other than jail. In order to break the cycle, we must partner with mental health professionals to find those in crisis and get them the help they deserve. We must continue to keep drugs out of our schools and our neighborhoods by implementing community-based programs to educate our youth on drug abuse and bullying. The combination of my education, training, and hands-on experience make me the best candidate to move Franklin County Sheriff's Office forward. I ask for your vote to partner with me to always put the safety of the Franklin County citizens first. Thank you, and God bless you.
Okay, Major Willis' opponent, Captain Kevin White.
Good evening, my name is Kevin White. I'm a Republican candidate for sheriff here in Franklin County. Through my career, I've served 23 consecutive years with the Franklin County Sheriff's Office. I've not been appointed to any position, however, I've been promoted by the last 4 sheriffs that I've been employed by. My record of leadership speaks for itself. I work patrol investigations, detective sergeant over domestic violence, lieutenant over criminal investigations, and captain over special operations. As a patrol deputy, I did more than answer calls. I integrated myself into the people, the incidents, and the community. As an investigator, I sought to serve by involving myself in special investigations. I investigated child abuse, elderly abuse, sexual assault, and now illegal narcotics. As Detective Sergeant of the Domestic Violence Unit, I implemented new programs, that being lethality assessment protocol, which greatly influenced the services provided to our domestic violence victims here in Franklin County. I implemented that program countywide in each law enforcement jurisdiction, making us the first county in North Carolina to do that. As Lieutenant of Investigations, I spent each day reviewing reports, looking at crime mapping, and effectively communicating with our staff and our district attorney's office to implement and to prosecute criminals within our community. As captain over special operations where I serve today, the unit did $9.4 million in drug confiscations last year and $1 million in assets, while making over 150 arrests. Also, we were the first agency within our prosecutorial district to charge for death by distribution, and we received 2 convictions in that. That holds drug dealers accountable for selling and causing overdose deaths in our community. I've always made training a priority, and I hold certifications in officer safety, verbal de-escalation, implicit and explicit bias, integrated response to active shooter within our schools. And I just received a commendation from the U.S. Marshals Eastern District for training that I provided them. I've served on the Child Death Lethality Review Board, the Courthouse Safety Community, the Vance Granville Training Board of Directors, and I was recently selected to the Criminal Justice Technology and Public Safety Advisory Committee. Safe streets, safe schools is not just a campaign slogan of mine. As you can tell from our leadership, it's been a priority since day one of my employment. I have 2 children in Franklin County schools, as well as a wife that's a special needs teacher in Franklin County schools. My leadership in administration and experience and years of service prepared me to be the next sheriff of Franklin County. I appreciate your support and your vote on November 8th. Thank you. My name is Kevin White.
Thank you. you, Major Willis and Captain White. That concludes the list of candidates that we had here on tonight. Keep in mind, the ballots across our county, there were 32 candidates represented on those ballots combined. Please join me now in giving our candidates a round of applause for their participation. Also, please give yourselves a round of applause for your attendance here on this evening. To you, the public, to you, the candidates, on behalf of the Chamber, we definitely don't take it for granted. Your sacrifice in coming out to join us on this evening. So thank you. On behalf of the Chamber, thank you so much for your attendance. As we said, on today, early voting began, so make sure you get out to vote. Election day is November the 8th, Tuesday, November the 8th. Definitely encourage you to participate and exercise your right to vote. If I'm not overlooking anything, I would like again to thank Dr. Rhonda Schuler, her authors, Dr. Larry Webb, Lewisburg High School staff. Thank you for opening your doors to us on this evening. Again, my name is Marquis Dedman. If I'm not overlooking anything, we'll go ahead and dismiss for this evening. While we have our candidates here, if there are any final questions that you would like to ask in private context, please feel free to do so while you have them here. Thank you all. Remember, Franklin County News Online, thank you for being in attendance tonight. Encourage folks, if they have no idea what's going on, you can always find the live stream there after the event. Thank you so much. God bless.